Good morning, y'all. It is April 20th, 7:44. I'm running a little late per normal. Anyway, last night I talked about how I got the nickname John Wayne, and I kind of cut the story in half. That was the beginning, and this is the second half, kind of like the aftermath or living with that pseudonym. Anyway, so I ended with going to court called Captain's Mass in the military. And like I talked about, because there was a cell phone, we got broken up into three distinctive groups. One group that had used the cell phone and paid for it. One group that actively knew about it. And then there was the other group of us that just heard about it through the bathroom incident. Anyway, so we're in court, and I am part of the last group to go in because I just heard about it from the bathroom. And again, my name is Shannon, so I am at the end of the line. And we go in to the courtroom, and we're standing there, and I'm in the second to the last line, and the captain's asking people, how did you know about the cell phone, etc. And everybody's saying the same thing because we're some part of the same group. And so about three people before me, the captain said, I don't want to hear any more about this bathroom. Don't tell me you heard about it in the bathroom, which is, or by the note. So finally we get to me, and I'm thinking, I have no idea what to say because he just told me I can't say what I know. Very, very kerfuddling. So, as I begin to open my mouth and let randomness pour through, a short Filipino man jumps up and says, "Are you Seaman Shannon? Are you the goddamn seaman that called me John Wayne?" And then he runs from out the counter and starts to berate me and start to ask me questions like, do I look like a cowboy? Do I look like I ride horses for fun? Do I look like a tall white man to you? So on and so forth. And of course, when you're very nervous because your pretty much entire next 4 years and maybe your career is on the line, you can get a little tongue-tied. And I just stammered out, no. Anyway, that went on for a bit. Then we were all found guilty of Article 92, dereliction of duty, which basically means you didn't tell anybody, which I think is ridiculous because we couldn't tell anybody because when we heard to when we got back into the room was only about 5 minutes or less. There was nobody to tell. So when we left the courtroom, we're standing outside, and now it's all 80 of us, and the captain comes out with the XO and a bunch of other people, and the XO turns and looks down the line, screams again, "Where the hell is goddamn John Wayne? Where is that recruit thinks he's so funny?" And of course, I step out of line and say, "I'm here, XO." And now, in the hallway, he berates me again, really good stuff, asking me, do I look like I was born in the 20s? How old do you think I am? And I have a hard time answering said questions. So, for the rest of boot camp, like I said last night, people are just calling me John Wayne. And when, at the end of boot camp, you get a hat that says Navy, because the rest of the time you're in boot camp, you wear a hat that says recruit, saying you graduated. And so as my petty officer puts my Navy cap on my head, he says, "Congratulations, John Wayne." And I wanted to punch him in the face. Just can't let a joke go. Anyway, so I graduate from boot camp, and then we have a problem because all of us were found guilty of Article 92, and you cannot secure a clearance, a security clearance, with a conviction. So out of the 80 of us, around 60 of us had security clearances, which now had to be removed. And of course, we had bonuses, and we had over $100,000 or $200,000 in bonuses. I can't remember. It was a lot of money. And I think 2 guys actually were able to get out of the Navy because they wanted to, because they couldn't get their jobs as nukes, as nuclear engineers. So we're all hanging out, and I finally get a job as a ship serviceman. That was one of the 3 jobs that was available. You could either be a firefighter, a ship serviceman, or deck, which means you just clean stuff. I'm not a big fan of cleaning stuff. So I go to A school, and I get out of A school, and I go to the USS Enterprise. Anyway, about 6 months later, I go skiing with my friend Patrick and Becky and a whole bunch of people, and I tore my knee skiing. I fall down first time, and so I get back to the ship, and I fall down because I'm missing a muscle. Anyway, so as I now have to go to recovery and surgery, I go to my first meeting. I go to my first meeting, I go see a doctor, and I check in, and I check into the medical facility, and there's a young guy there at the desk, and we get to chatting, and he asked me when I went to boot camp, and I tell him, and he says, like, oh, I went to boot camp at that same time. And he says, what division were you? And I said, 109. His eyes widened because, we had the cell phone incident and all this, and he looks at me, he leans in, he's like, so did you know John Wayne? And I look at him, I can't help but smile. I was like, yeah, I know John Wayne. I said, oh, here he's 6 foot tall. He's got the face of a lion, fire in his eyes, and all this, and I just get to laughing. I was like, nah, he's about 5'10", white guy. And he just starts laughing. He's like, you? And I was like, yep. And from then on, of course, we're buddies, and it was really cool. So I'm going to physical therapy at this time, and I'm living in a barracks. I'm off the ship, and I'm eating at a commissary or a mess. And one day I go, and all the tables are full, but there's a chaplain eating, and I was like, oh, I'll go eat with the chap. Cool. So I go, and I ask the chaplain, can I sit here? He says yes, and we get to talking, and he asked me about myself, and I have a book. I forget what I was reading, and anyway, he asked me some questions, and it turns out that he was at boot camp the same time I was at boot camp. And, I tell him, what's going on, and about my story and everything. And he starts laughing. And he was like, son, Captain Moran, that's the captain of boot camp, tells that story of you getting yelled at boot camp about John Wayne every other Sunday when he has officers over to his house for dinner. And he was like, you're famous. Everybody knows John Wayne. And I was like, oh, that's great. I hate you. I hate you all. So that's kind of the conclusion there of the John Wayne mythos that it kind of spread throughout. And it was a lot of fun. And I met one more guy that knew the tale on the flight deck of the Enterprise one afternoon. He was loading bombs, and we just chatted. So anyway, that's the story of John Wayne. I hope you all have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.